people. Finished the book, Gettysburg, by Stephen W. Sears. This was a really good book. Read about Gettysburg before, and it's a bit of a complicated battle, but the way this guy writes it, it just, I can understand the entire thing, the entire 3-day battle. Tried to make this video yesterday, but my phone is like shutting off on me, so I'm gonna try and make this video a little bit shorter. It's impossible to do and still do credit to the book or the subject. I got a lot of notes here about Lee because I've never been all that impressed with Lee. Lee wins some battles, yes, but he never finishes the deed. He never destroys the enemy. Early in the book, page 50, Lee is, he's invading the North, and he has lent a couple of brigades to this guy, Hill, and he wants to get those brigades back. Hill refuses. Hill dilly-dallies. Hill delays. And Lee, instead of imposing his will on this Hill guy, Lee actually offers up his resignation to Jefferson Davis. He never gets his brigades. I don't know if that influenced Lee's behavior later on in this campaign, because Lee has a lot of trouble with Longstreet. He has a lot of trouble with imposing his will, and even when Lee seems to know that what he's doing is the wrong thing, he sticks to it just because that's his decision. The first day of the battle goes the Confederates' way. It's still pretty even. They're all both taking lots of casualties. But day 2 and day 3, it's just like he's pounding his head against the Union line. And day 3 is just I had marked out some paragraphs of where Pickett and the rest of these guys, they call it Pickett's charge, but Pickett is only part of it. I had marked out some paragraphs where these guys are marching through this federal crossfire of artillery, and I've decided not to read those because it's gruesome. These guys are, that's bravery, that's valor to march through that, but it should have never happened. Lee also gives up his cavalry, which, I don't know, he orders Stuart to go around the army. I've got Hooker written here. He orders Stuart to go around Hooker's army, but by that time it's not Hooker's army anymore because Hooker is fucked in the head too. Hooker wants the troops that are at Harper's Ferry, and he doesn't get them, and he offers his resignation, and that resignation is accepted, and they put Meade in charge, and it turns out to be a really good choice. Halleck and Lincoln get together, and they put Meade in charge, and Meade is right there on the front line. He has consultations with all his generals. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Meade has his shit together. I don't know. I'm just going to try and make this a little bit shorter. The book does a really great job describing how this all unfolded. Neither of them, Lee or Meade, wanted to have a big battle at Gettysburg. But once this guy, Heth, he's a divisional commander for the Confederates, and Reynolds, he's a corps commander for the Federals. Reynolds ends up getting killed on the first day. Heth lives through it. Those two commit their troops, and so after that there's really no going back. I'm not going to read this. The Peach Orchard. There's a guy named Sickles. This is on the second day. Meade is establishing his defensive line. He's driven off Seminary Ridge, and they have to make a defensive line on Cemetery Ridge, which involves Round Top and Little Round Top, Culp's Hill. There's a diversionary attack against Culp's Hill, and this diversionary attack is stupid. But this guy named Sickles, he pushes his troops out there. Everything for Meade is working perfectly until this guy Sickles pushes his troops 150 yards past the rest of the defensive line. Sickles is stupid. Uh, there's a lot of stuff in here about Longstreet and Lee having their little disagreements. You have to look at it subjectively because Longstreet is writing years later. There's a thing here called Malvern Hill where Longstreet says, this is going to be another Malvern Hill. I had never even heard of Malvern Hill, so I had to Google it, and I looked at it. Malvern Hill is almost the same thing as the Confederates just bashed their brains out against the Federal line. The Federals do the same thing at Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg is fucking dumb as hell. And they keep doing it, and they march right into this slaughterhouse. What do I got here? There's a guy in Gettysburg who marks all these times, and he marks the temperature and everything. And it's 87 degrees the day of Pickett's charge. I work outside. 87 degrees is hot as hell for outside stuff. I'm not comparing what I do to what they did. Nobody's trying to kill me at work. I'm not wearing woolen clothing, but 87 degrees makes everything harder. I notice at work when it's above 80 degrees, 85 degrees, I'm breathing through my mouth. It makes it that much harder. Your body is struggling. All through the book, I look for Michigan brigades, and the 7th Michigan is part of this defensive line. They equipped themselves well. Not all of the Michigan brigades did. Custer is there. Custer is part of the Federal cavalry, and he's involved a little bit in the pursuit. He's involved a little bit in these cavalry battles. And Custer dresses all flamboyant and shit. It's interesting to see what Custer is doing. Custer was a lucky man. He was very lucky. I guess that's about it. My phone hasn't cut off on me. I didn't read anything. It's a great book if you want to understand that battle. I came out of this book understanding the battle. Like all good books, I miss it when I'm done with it. You know, you come home from work, you take care of your shit, and you get back to the book. I've started on another book now that's completely different, and you know, I'm comparing this new book to this one. Thanks for watching.